hate Korea and America is the best country in the entire world, so I'm booking a flight tomorrow. Is that what you thought I was gonna say? Today we will be discussing the topics of America versus Korea. Y'all know Hamilton, low key, high key. I was born to play Eliza. But, alas, I moved to Korea. I got a husband and a rat. I mean, a Rocky. As you can tell, today I'm feeling manic. I'm on 4 hours of sleep, and I started drinking this to start my day. It's King Energy Drink. It's Crush Peach. One of my favorites, has gotten me through so many teaching days in my lifetime. Yeah, it's good. I'm feeling insane, per usual, while I'm in my bed. So, we're gonna see how I do this video today. I honestly don't know what the vibes are. We about to find out. But anyway, what y'all drinking? What y'all doing? What y'all snacking? What y'all thinking?
I don't think I can do this anymore, you guys.
Alright, let me just stop. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go into the video because I can't do this anymore. I'm about to go crazy. Yeah, bro. It's like petroleum into my veins. So, it doesn't happen often that I miss America. Do you miss America? Yeah. Even now, am I missing America?
No! 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 No!
Not really. But I do have moments when I do miss America. Sometimes I've never once regretted moving to Korea and yeah. But sometimes I do miss, some things that are a little bit more convenient or, the taste of certain foods, stuff like that. So, I wanted to do a quick little comparison about America and Korea and the differences of my lifestyle and the differences of food, culture, all of that. I thought I saw a bug. It's not a bug. I don't know what it is, but it's not a bug. It better not freaking be a bug. I want to do a comparison of America. So if you're American, stick around. Don't forget to subscribe because we are a Cozy Crew fam over here. And I'm not really sure why I came into this accent. Y'all, I'm a theater girl. So if you couldn't tell, I studied theater for like half my life. So I really be switching between accents. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, if you're American, stick around. Don't forget to subscribe. I have a ton of videos about moving to Korea, living in Korea, the hot takes, things people don't tell you, and vlogs. So if any of that kind of stuff interests you, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and you can be part of the Cozy Crew. Okay, T. All right, so let's talk about America. What I miss is obviously my family. Yeah, duh. I mean, me and my family are very, very close, and we call and chat and text all the time, but it's just obviously not the same. So being apart from my family is something that has been very, very difficult for me. So the first thing that I miss is obviously my family. We're very, very close, and we call and chat and text like every day, but it's obviously not the same, and it's been one of the big, the hardest things that I've had to deal with moving abroad, especially as not technically the oldest, I'm technically the middle, but it's kind of complicated, so I do feel like the oldest in my household. Yeah, it's been really hard to be living away from my family, and it feels like I feel guilty, honestly, as the quote-unquote middle/oldest child thing. Yeah, so I do feel like a sort of guilt for being away from my family and having my experiences and building my life over here, but it is what it is, and I don't plan on coming back until, how many years do we have left? Hold on. 2028. Yeah, America's kind of... Okay, moving on. Yeah, I miss fast food so bad. Okay, so we have Taco Bell here. Taco Bell, I don't know what it is. It's probably just that it's real. the meat here is probably just real, so it doesn't hit the same, y'all. I want like that greasy like stuff that I don't know what it is. I want that. I miss Taco Bell. We have McDonald's here, so McDonald's is fine. They don't have like the exact like sauce. That's my beef with McDonald's right now in Korea, is that they don't have the right sauce. And it's just kind of disappointing, to be honest. I do miss like my barbecue and like my buffalo ranch. Delicious. Chick-fil-A, miss that girl constantly. Mostly for the waffle fries. Miss that girl like crazy. Miss that. Oh my god. And then Chipotle. Chipotle is like my favorite place ever to eat. And I used to eat it like religiously, like every other week or every week when I was in university. And now, obviously, we don't have that. So we have, like, Cuchara, which is kind of like a Chipotle dupe, and I love that place. I've talked about it before because I'm obsessed with it, but it is, like, really kind of inconveniently placed, to be honest. Like, it's, like, really in, like, the most random places in Seoul, and it's kind of hard to find. So I barely get to eat it, and it makes me feel insane. But even then, it's not quite the same as Chipotle, mainly because like the protein just isn't the same. I like the portions better because they're smaller here, but the proteins, like I love me some, what is it called? It's not the churrasco, the barbacoa. Yo, the barbacoa in Chipotle goes freaking crazy. I always get that because they give you the most meat, like that goes crazy. But here, obviously, we don't have that. So it's like, I try to get something pretty similar, but it's not the same. So I really do miss like crappy food, which is weird to think about, you know, but also whatever. It is what it is. Another thing is in the US, y'all, you guys, when you think about it, to be honest, you kind of have it good when it comes to like working. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff with like the economy, and the job market right now is like really insane, and it's really hard to get a job in general, but it's way harder as a foreigner in Korea to get a job outside of teaching. And there's like some weird tea with like the president right now where he's like not like, he's trying to like restrict the teaching visa as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But like outside of teaching in Korea, it's really, really hard to get a job unless you've been living here for a few years, or you live in Seoul, especially because they accept a lot of foreigners. But most of the time, whenever you do work in Seoul, unless you're going to work for like a foreign like company, then most of the time you're going to have to speak Korean anyway. So it's not kind of hard. It is really hard to find a good job. So listen, because you have to think about the language barrier. That is already crazy. And then also location. If you live outside of like a big city, it's going to be way harder to get a job unless you speak fluent Korean. And then also, you guys have heard the rumors about Korean companies and how sometimes people just sit there and they desk warm because they see somebody who's like their higher up is like working on something. You can't leave before your higher up leaves. So then you just sit there and wait, doing basically nothing until your higher up is done. Like you're basically your boss or your manager or whatever is done doing whatever they're doing, and then you go home. Girl, the way I would go crazy. I mean, like, I think it's a little bit easier to pull like the foreigner card and like leave at a decent time, but I've seen people go home at like 9 p.m. and especially like the longer you work at that specific company, the more they're going to treat you like a person of the company, like a Korean of the company, rather than the foreigner who goes home at 5 when everyone else goes home at 7. That's the tea, queen. So the job market is kind of difficult here. I've heard mixed reviews, to be honest, but then like teaching doesn't have a real like course to go through. There's no way that you can like really grow unless you become a head teacher of a school. It's highly unlikely that you're going to grow out of that, and like there's not really a lot of progression. That's what I mean, not a course. There's not a lot of progression in that career. Like you're just going to be a teacher, and then even as a head teacher, you're like you have more responsibilities, but you're still teaching, you know? I thought I threw up for a second. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, basically, being a teacher in Korea, you don't really have that many options for progression. You can be a teacher or a head teacher, and that's pretty much it. And then whenever you do decide that you want to like leave the career, for example, or change into something else, like it's just super hard to bring those skills into a different career besides teaching abroad or like teaching in general. So just be aware of that. It is kind of just difficult. That's why a lot of people spend like a few years here, and then they either try to transition out of teaching into like a Korean company, or they just like move away altogether. So yeah, unless you're born to be a teacher, which I do have friends who are like that, and they're just like, I want to teach forever, then good for you, queen. You'll be happy. Since we're on the topic of Korean. So speaking Korean is fairly difficult. The grammar is completely different and backwards compared to English grammar. The alphabet is pretty easy actually to learn. You could use it, like you could learn it in a few minutes, to be honest. Like a lot of people say you could learn it in like 20 minutes. However, there are a lot of words that sound similar or the same, and like the spelling can be different. Like it's just like very complicated, and it can be very difficult to learn Korean, which means it can be very difficult to do easy things like going to the grocery store, going to the pharmacy and asking for something, all of that stuff. It is just kind of inconvenient to do things, and sometimes I will just be like, I don't want to do this, even though like I have to go to the pharmacy, but I don't want to go to the pharmacy because I don't want to have to deal with having to pull out my Google Translate or like make anyone uncomfortable or like try to use my brain to speak Korean. Yeah, all of that stuff. It's really, really hard. I mean, like, especially even like in stores, because after you do, like, let's say you go grocery shopping and then you finish all your groceries, you go to the lady who's gonna like check you out, and then she asks you like 4 different questions. If you don't speak a lick of Korean, it's really hard to like figure out what she's asking you. And usually they stick to the script, so once you get it, like you kind of get it. But yeah, it's really, really difficult, and sometimes it's just like, ugh, why bother, you know? So I do miss, like, in America, people being able to understand me, whether I'm speaking English or Spanish, just communicating so easily. Sometimes, oh my gosh, like, this happens to me all the time, because Korean girlies always dress so cute, and sometimes I literally just want to compliment you, like, wow, your pants are so cute, where did you get them? Girl, I can't do that. First of all, she's going to look at me like, why are you speaking to me? Second of all, I'm definitely going to say the wrong thing, and then she's going to stare at me like, oh, she's a terrible person. So I do just miss like the convenience of the normality of like conversation. Sometimes I do miss like being in America and having the moments where you speak to people and like have small talk with strangers. Sometimes I like that. It just does make you feel like a little bit more human. But I'm not going to go to America. So let's talk about why I am staying. First, I have lost so much weight since moving here. I barely tried in my first few months of moving here. I don't think that I started working out at the gym probably until like a year. Like I would do Pilates or like workouts at home, but I didn't start working out at a gym until like a year of me being here. And I lost weight literally because the food is way cleaner here. Obvi. There's no like weird preservatives. Have you seen the difference in our strawberry sizes? It's crazy. So the fact that we are being fed like natural foods, most of the time it's like straight from the farm. Obviously it's not like, wow, Korea, all of Korean food is so healthy. Like kimchi is great, but like ramen, tteokbokki, you know, like stuff like that, it's not all healthy. The food that you're gonna eat at the grocery store or at the convenience store, it's gonna be like processed food, of course, but it has way less chemicals than American food. And like I mean, that combined with the fact that I have to walk constantly, why am I out of breath? It's the asthma. A bitch can't breathe. Hello, are you okay? Oh my god, and yeah, and the portion sizes too. I didn't even think about that. I totally forgot. The portion sizes are ridiculous. Like I literally said, compared to Kuchara and Chipotle, like portion sizes are crazy to the point where like when I went back home in 2023, when I went home in 2023 to America and I got Chipotle, I literally had to split it in half and like eat half and half. Usually like before that, I would be able to eat most of my bowl before like getting leftovers and then eating it like the rest of the day, like later on, you know what I mean? Like if I would get Chipotle for lunch, then I could eat the rest of it like later for dinner or whatever. but I had to literally split it in half because it was just way too much for me after eating the portion sizes here. And it just like doesn't make me feel icky. It does not at all. And like I miss the taste and I miss the grease sometimes, but at the same time I'm grateful that I can eat McDonald's here without feeling like disgusting because the portion sizes are so much better, and like it doesn't feel as processed, to be honest. So yeah. Next up is money. I love money. I've built financial freedom here being a teacher on a salary of like, oh man, I can't remember what it was. I'm gonna have to pop it up here somewhere. Let's say even like my first salary from 2023 was like 1.2 million won. And was it 1.2? No, it was 2.2, I think. My first salary was like pretty much like minimum wage here, and I was still able to do a ton of stuff. I never felt like I ran out of money. It's just like way more convenient here. I felt more like financially free, especially like as a young person who just like fresh out of college. I just moved the country and like I'm single, so like I felt so comfortable. Like my life was so comfortable. My apartment was paid for. Like my apartment rent was paid for. My healthcare was covered. Healthcare. Crazy. Could never be me. I did not have healthcare in America. So healthcare was covered. Apartment was paid for. I only had to pay for utilities, which was like 150,000 won a month. And life was good. Life was easy. I really just like, it really built my financial freedom in a way that I could not have imagined to do so living alone. That's the big one, is like living alone, because maybe I would have been able to save some money. Ow, this itches. Maybe I would have been able to save some money in America, but I would have probably had to live with my parents, and I didn't have to do that here. Obviously, like my job covered pretty much everything for me, and I felt so comfortable, and like it was just like nice. It was really, really nice to have that kind of security and freedom to do what I wanted without having to feel like I needed to save a ton of money, which I mean, obviously I saved, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't have to restrict myself in any way because things are like way cheaper here, but also because I was well taken care of by my company. So I was really content. You know, Alandria from Love Island, like her posture is crazy. Like she's always sitting like a regal queen, just like looking down at her subjects. And I literally can't do that. My back already, like my back, my spine is already uncomfortable just thinking about that. But I know that that's why I literally cannot breathe right now, because my posture is crap. I'm talking too fast and I'm not breathing. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell me. But if you can hear me inhaling air like I am a fish out of water or in water, fish just recently returned from to the water. Whatever. I don't know what this analogy is. If you can hear me inhaling like crazy, it's because I can't breathe, girl. But I'm talking anyway. Okay, moving on. Okay, this one is from my ladies. Where my ladies at? You know, like being a young Gen Z, I always thought that clubbing was going to be really fun. And like it is kind of fun, but like I thought that it was going to be the way that it was in the 2000s, like 14 to like 17. I thought it was going to be so fun, like the millennials with like their heels and their cute little club outfits. Like it was like the cute top and like jeans or whatever, and like the heels, and then they would have bangers on the radio. Now I feel like clubbing is just like not as fun, and yeah. Anyway, so speaking of clubbing, I guess, being able to be a woman at night and not fear for my life. Whoo! Girl, that goes crazy. The amount of times that I've walked around in Korea and like it's been nighttime fully, I'm by myself and in the middle of like the city or in the middle of a park, and I don't feel any kind of fear for my life. I mean, I'm American and I'm also a woman, so it is ingrained in me to like look over my shoulder and like make sure that I'm aware of my surroundings, obviously. But I've never once felt like I was in danger, even being not fully sober, like, you know, when I'm going out with my friends. I've never once felt like I was unsafe with the taxis or anything like that. And I'm really, really grateful for that experience because, like, you know, it's just like what everyone deserves. Like, everyone deserves to feel safe and everyone deserves to be able to walk around and like not have to choose the man or the bear kind of vibes. Yeah, that is something that Korea has definitely given to me that I would not pass up for anything in the world. And yeah, girl, move to Korea. If you're scared for your life, girl, move to Korea, because even Japan, girl, they be fucking people over there. It's scary. So Korea's the one. Come over here. Yeah. Okay. So also, I've talked about this before, but also if you're introverted like me, Korea just gets it. Korea very much supports introvert culture. They do not like to be spoken to. They do not like to be bothered by people that they do not want to speak to. So there are so many things that you can do that will, support you being an introvert, like kiosks all over cafes and stuff. You don't even have to order in Korean anymore. Not all of them, but a lot of them have kiosks. In restaurants, they have kiosks as well. There are some restaurants where like you sit and there's like a screen with the entire menu, and like you just order from the screen at the table. There are like activities that you can do where you don't have to speak to anyone. You can just pick up your stuff, like the DIY stuff. Most of the time you just do that by yourself and you don't have to worry about anybody like bothering you or anything. I've talked about perfume class. There's like so many things in Korea where it's like, if you're an introvert, that's perfect because you don't have to speak to anybody. So I mean, it also makes it very much more difficult for you to practice your Korean. You'll get chances for that, don't worry. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Okay, actually I decided that if I'm speaking so fast right now. I fully have an energy drink coursing through my veins right now, and I'm going to take a nap right after I record this. Okay, T. Since moving here, I have visited so many countries that I could never dream of visiting. I am so grateful that I had the chance to go to Vietnam, go to Japan, like travel through Asia. And, I have so many plans for other countries that I want to visit. Thailand, Bali, like all of that stuff. Indonesia. Isn't Bali in Indonesia? I think it is. I want to go to Okinawa really bad. I really want to go to Okinawa and Jeju. Okay, anyway, so yeah, like there are so many. Oh my god, Taiwan. I want to go to Taiwan so bad. Yeah, so there are so many like Asian countries that I could never have imagined visiting in my lifetime, and like nobody in my family has visited before. My whole family has always stayed in Dominican Republic, and farthest that they've gone is like Orlando or New York in America. And it's just like crazy to think about whenever you're thinking like, wow, like I've gone farther than anyone in my bloodline has gone. So yeah, I think it's something that I really could never have expected unless I was able to move here. People always ask me, like, were you ever scared because you were 22 and, like, you moved over here? But not really. Like, I always felt like Orlando was, like, way too small for me. Not shaming anyone who lives in Orlando or whatever, or who decides to stay in the States. But I always felt like it was just too small for me. Like, I was in the kind of town where everybody knew everybody, and we were like in the suburbs, so like everyone knew everyone since kindergarten to high school graduation. We knew the same kind of people, and I always felt like it was just too small for me. And like now I have the chance to go places where my family has never been. So yeah, I also like traveling at such a cheaper price, like at least through Asia. Like, I mean, it's kind of the same as if you were living in Europe and then you're going through European countries and then like going through the train or the flights or whatever. Like, it's all way cheaper than going from America to Europe or America to Asia or whatever. So, I mean, I have had such great opportunities, and I really hope to continue traveling because I love doing that. So, I have allergies, so please, my nose is always itching. Please don't look at me. Okay. Basically, I miss America. I miss some things in America, not everything. And Korea isn't perfect either. I'll say that for sure. But I don't think that I'll go back anytime soon. And I'm really grateful for the time that I've had here. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the time that I have here and like the rest of our plans that we have here. So would you move to Korea? Would you stay in America? What do you think is better? What are you not willing to sacrifice when it comes to America? Or if you're from Europe, like wherever you are in the world right now, what is something that you're not willing to sacrifice? What is a deal breaker for you to stay where you are rather than move to Korea? So comment that below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram because I actually have a poll coming up this week because I'm going to do a cute fun like video over the weekend. I'm going to post like a vote on my Instagram stories, so make sure you follow me on there so you guys can be engaged for future videos whenever I have voting and stuff like that on my stories. So yeah, I'm literally sweating and I need to like do yoga or something or take a nap. Okay, per usual, if you watch this video all the way through, comment below a soap bar, send this to your best friend, send this to your cousin, to your sister, anyone who is interested in Korea or just is an introvert girly who wants to join the cozy crew. Okay, I love you. See you next time. 안녕.